And
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the PD Coordinators webinar for March 5th, 2020. I saw a lot of great comments down there about what you all are going to do for spring break, so I'm excited. So let's get started with the agenda for today. So today we're going to cover some announcements on the 2020 Literacy Symposium, upcoming webinars, other symposiums, upcoming TOTs, some virtual conferences, and then we'll have some PD portal announcements, and finally we'll have PD coordinator time. And remember, this is your time to ask questions and get answers, because we're all on and we're all ready and willing to share. So our first announcement will be by Krista.
hi, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, perfect. This is, again, just the webinar schedule for April through June. We will be working on our next year's schedule soon, but we will be back to our second Thursday starting next month, April 9th, then May 14th, and June 11th. So we're glad y'all are here today.
Thank you, Krista. We'll have Beth.
Hi, everyone. Welcome. I'm glad you're here with us this afternoon. Just wanted to, I sent something out over our listserv, but just wanted to let everybody know, if you didn't get that message, that all of the sessions from the TALE conference have now been added into Teams. So you can go in and start assigning your folks to the sessions that they attended. Had a bunch of questions about credit for the opening session, and per TWC, there is no PD credit for the opening session. So opening sessions tend to be either inspirational or informational and less content being shared. So just in case you're wondering, there will be no PD for the opening session. Does anybody have questions about anything about the TALE conference sessions? I'll keep an eye on the chat box just in case something comes through, and I pass it back to Olga.
Thank you, Beth. And next we'll have Paula.
Thank you, Olga. This is Paula Bauer, and I just wanted to recap the remaining 2 literacy symposiums we have scheduled for this year. It will be in the Gulf Coast Literacy Symposium will be in Pearland on April 18th. That's a Saturday. And the South Plains Literacy Symposium will be in Lubbock on the following Friday, April 24th, 2020. And then we have the Literacy Texas 2020 conference that is now in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. It's from August 2nd to August 5th. In about a couple of weeks, they'll have registration. And Anne-Marie just put the link to registration in the chat pod for your convenience. Thank you, Olga.
Thank you, Paula. And we'll hear a little bit from Liz on the Texas AEL Manager Monday. Liz? Unmute. Anne-Marie, can you unmute Liz?
Let's try this again.
Okay.
Good afternoon, everybody. Okay. So I'm very excited to share about our next Manager Monday, which is a culture of inclusion. Our presenter is going to be Luann Teller from World Education. She's a fabulous presenter, well-versed in student issues. And so she's going to be discussing how to identify and address student barriers so that we can build on our retention and focus on ways to keep our students engaged. And she is so phenomenal that our Manager Monday is going to be for an hour and a half. So bring your lunch, join us, and we'd like to see you. Registration is available in the PD portal. And for our next slide, we have our upcoming topics. We're going to be, this is the latest news. We just received a notification that we're going to be doing MSG Teams, the Report 2.0, and that's coming up very soon in the next couple of months, and that's going to be by Mahalia Baldini from TWC. And we're also going to have how exclusionary reasons affect program performance. And if you ask yourself, what is an exclusionary reason? Well, then that only means join us for our webinar so you could learn about that. And then we'll also be sharing how to better analyze and understand your POP report. That will be done by Elena Madrid, also from TWC. And on the next slide, I just want to encourage you, if you have any questions, suggested any topics you'd like to suggest, we want to make this fruitful for you. Let us know. Send me a message via email. I'd like to hear from you. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Liz. Now let's hear a little bit about Workforce Wednesday. So Workforce Wednesday happens on a Wednesday throughout the month. And the schedule is listed here on the side. And I just want to encourage you, it happens from 12:30 to 1:30, so it's a little bit after the lunch hour. But if you are looking for sessions, just register, look in the PD portal, and you can search Workforce Wednesday, and anything that's coming up will pop up in our calendar. I just wanted to say that if you have any ideas or recommendations for a future Workforce Wednesday, maybe you have someone that has something interesting that they would like to share, please contact me by reaching me at my email at olga.escamilla@tamu.edu, and Anne Marie is going to place that in the chat box. So I want to continue and tell you a little bit about our March 25th, 2020 Workforce Wednesday webinar, and that is teaching tips for teaching resume writing. So join us as we share some tips of teaching or for teaching resume writing, and it's going to include some information like the different types of resumes, what's important to include, using action words, and we're also going to talk about 7 ways to botch your resume. So join us for resume writing in March. That's right, the week after spring break, so it'll be March 25th. And then we have retooling transitions to college to meet ELL student needs, and this is on April 22nd. And we're going to have Christopher Sheffield with Birdsville ISD. He's going to discuss how Birdsville ISD transitions to college for ELL and what the program does to get students to the next level with college readiness. So join us for those 2 sessions. And right now, I believe that the March session is in, and we're working to get the April session in. So just search Workforce Wednesday in your calendar. So next we'll have Anne Marie.
Thank you, Olga, so much. We've got several Tech Intel webinars that are coming up, and the first Tech Intel webinar that will be coming up in March is Wakelet, and this is going to be part 2, and there's going to be 2 Wakelets coming up. But anyway, yes, the presenter is going to be Ashley Winkle from the Literacy Council of Tyler. Yes, go Ashley. It has been a while since we have had Tech Intel feature Ashley, so we are excited to have her back. And what is Wakelet? Wakelet aims to bridge the gap between humans and algorithms as it empowers people to curate their content in an organized and useful and personal manner. So during part 1, we're going to learn about what Wakelet is, and then next slide, later on, suspense, we're going to learn about what Wakelet does, but that'll be in a moment. So later in March, we have part 2 of Wonderopolis, a wonderground of educational resources. And this is part 2, and again, this is featuring Catalina Requenes from Region 1 Educational Service Center, and this will be March 27th. So March 20th is going to be Wakelet with Ashley Winkle, and then the following Friday is going to be Catalina coming in to do part 2 of Wonderopolis on March 27th. And registration is available for this webinar right now. Next slide. And now we have Ashley will be back with us on April 3rd to talk about Wakelet, part 2. And in part 2, she will continue exploring Wakelet and examine all the ways to use it to create, share, organize, and explore other collections. So thank you so much, Ashley. We're so excited to feature this resource on Tech and Tell. Thanks, Olga.
Thank you, Anne Marie. And next we'll hear from Krista about Teacher Tuesday.
Hi. Okay, our next Teacher Tuesday is March 10th, and this is our newsflash, Measuring Student Outcomes Just Got Easier, and Part 1 with Mahalia Baldini. And registration is available in the PD portal. Part 2 will be April 14th, so looking forward to that. And for those of you that we've gotten some great ideas from the field, so if you continue to have any ideas for the Teacher Tuesday, please use the link in the chat pod, for the survey. So please let us know if you have any ideas. So March 10th, next Tuesday, and I know that some of you will be on spring break, but this will be on after post-production. It will be available online through the PD portal.
Thank you, Krista.
Okay.
Thank you. And again, if y'all have any recommendations, please use the link in the survey link that she placed in the chat box to submit your recommendations. The next we'll hear from Beth.
Thank you, Olga. I appreciate it. So just to check in, another set of webinars that we've been working on with Cynthia Peters from World Education. She's done 3 sessions for us on the census, and we've got one more coming up on April 7th, the census and real-world math. So if you're a math geek, you might want to tune in for that or have some of your teachers tune in. And then she's going to do 2 more webinars for us, one in May and one in June. And we're going to start talking a little civics lessons for us on the electoral process and then civics beyond the voting booth. So both of those I think will be really interesting for our instructors. So please go ahead and put those on your calendar, and we'll let you know as soon as registration is up in the portal. Thank you.
Thank you, Beth. So as we end the announcement session of all our webinars, we will take any questions. And we did have a question from Ashley, and it says, will any of these census webinars be available on video later? And Beth?
Yes, yes,
Deb
they
says,
will. Yes, they will. They will. We will put them into the portal as a curriculum. And if Laura's on, I'm not sure where we are on the post-production process on the ones that have already happened. We are trying to push them through a little quicker because obviously it's time sensitive. The census will wrap up at a certain point. So Laura, if you're on or want to respond in the chat box, so let us know where we are on those.
Hey, Beth, it's Katie. We
Katie.
have put some of those through post-production already. I believe there's one on my list to announce today, but we are getting them out and in the portal as quick as we can. There's probably right now maybe a 3 to 4 week window. So we will get them in and available to you guys as soon as we can.
Thank you, Katie. And Deborah mentioned if you haven't noticed, in the chat box that the first 10 to register for the April census webinar will get their own hard copy of the Change Engine issue. Yay! Thank you, Deborah. We're excited. So some of you might be able to use that in your classroom.
Yep, we had that census webinar yesterday, and the first 10 folks that registered for that one got their hard copies. So if any of you were on the call this afternoon, I'd love to hear if you had a chance to look through it.
Okay, any other questions before we move on? I'll give you a minute. Okay, and Deborah, you are up.
Thank you, Olga. Hi, everybody. It's that time of year again. We're planning for the 5th Annual Technology and Distance Learning Symposium. We're very happy to be able to go back to Region 20. Thank you to all of the folks there who support us and provide the space for us. We've got a really good program that's being put together right now. We've got about 50 to 60 people already registered. We encourage you to share the information. It's going to be on a Friday, and it's going to start at 8 o'clock. I'm looking for my program now. We've got some sessions such as Actively Think, Actively Read, Actively Learn from Ashley Winkle. Mario Ortiz from down in the Valley is going to be presenting on developing e-folios with Google Sites. We've got Duran Thompson coming from the University of Tennessee. She was here last year and did some great sessions for us. She's going to be doing a session on creating effective videos, as well as a session on gamification. We've got some folks, Anne-Marie and Liz are going to be doing PBS Learning Media. Ashley is doing another session for us on writing the Wakelet. And so many others that I'm just now getting all the blurbs in, but we're going to have a number of breakout rooms. We encourage you to attend. Registration is free, as you know. You've just got to pay to get there. We'll have breakfast and lunch, courtesy of our exhibitors, and we're going to have 2 new exhibitors this year. Voxy, who was there last year, but I don't think his software was approved, he's going to be there, and Lotus from the Student Nest Foundation just got approved, and they will be there as well. And each of the exhibitors will be given 1 breakout session to do a demonstration. So think about any of the software that you haven't had an opportunity to review. If you've got some extra money, and I think most of you do, think about sending some folks to take a look at that software, as well as joining us and learning some new skills. I also wanted to share with you that Lori Slayton and I, Lori isn't able to get on this afternoon, but wanted me to share that we are part of the IDEAL Consortium. Texas has been part of the IDEAL Consortium for many, many years, even back when Anne-Marie Molinari was part of the distance learning team. And they just updated last August, they updated their Distance Education and Blended Learning Handbook. And I wanted you all to know that we are getting copies printed for each of the distance learning leads. And once we get those, hopefully in the next week or 2, we'll be sending those out. So just make sure that your distance learning lead, we'll send a note with them to make sure they let you know and let your program director know that we're mailing out those Distance Education and Blended Learning Handbook. They've got lots of tools in there and lots of ideas for you as you go through updating your distance learning plan. And I think that's it for me, Olga.
Thank you so much, Deborah. And next up, we're going to hear from Tracy. She has some announcements on some upcoming TOTs.
Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you, Olga. Yes, we've got several training and trainer events coming up this spring, so we're actually ready to roll them out, several of them. And first, we'll start with the Texas Style Paper-Based TABE 1112. That event is March 25th in Austin at the AIR offices. Registration is open. We only have 4 people registered, so if you have anyone you want to send, please get them registered. If we don't have at least 5 people, we'll need to cancel. And we've had to do that a couple of times. I know everybody is thinking all CASAS, but there are still some folks using TABE. So now's a chance for a TOT. And we would make the decision to cancel probably within the week before, maybe a few days before. We'll give as much notice as possible. But please register anyone who might need this at this point. We are in the works and developing a Texas-style computer-based TABE 1112. Oh, I'm not done yet, Olga. Okay. We're developing it now. We're hoping late spring to get this out, and it could be early summer, but be looking for that. We will let you know when that's available. Okay, next slide. So now we have the CASAS TOTs. We've got 2 that are planned. They're not on the portal yet. We just secured the locations and are going to get the announcements ready and the registration going. April 24th and 25th in San Antonio. May 13th and 14th is in Dallas. And we're calling it the Texas Style CASAS TOT because even if you attended a CASAS training last year, CASAS was just rolling out those modules back last April when they first came to Texas. So there have been some changes to their original modules that they've done, and then they are allowing us to add to some of these modules that needed a little more explanation or practice, if you will, like the e-test module needed a little time to practice and get on and just see how you actually, start a class and all these different things. So they've allowed us to add some of the activities. And we also decided we needed to add some time for someone who's going to be the trainer for the program to have some training tips and opportunity to practice. There's a lot of setup that has to happen for CASAS, as we've all probably found out at our local program level. So we want trainers to feel fully confident when they train at the local program level. So even if you attended a TOT last year, we want to encourage you to think about coming again, because it will go at a slower pace and be targeted as a training of trainer event, more like you're used to when we present them. The difference with this 2-day thing also is day one is going to be open for anyone to come. It's going to be a regular day of training with all 4 modules offered. And so if you do have some staff in those areas that you want to just attend the training, and then they would be certified test administrators, they can come day one. If someone wants to be a trainer, then they need to attend both days. So we're going to see how this works. We're excited about it. Dr. Glenda Rose and Jen Wisenot are the Master State Trainers. They've been given the crown by CASAS to train. So we're excited about that. We also have Best Plus 2.0 and Best Literacy. You can see the dates there. We are still working on location. And again, these trainings haven't made the past couple of times, probably because of CASAS, but we'll get the information out to you. Keep in mind, Best Plus requires a lot of follow-up with that training. So someone that attends, there's also a $500 fee to attend, but then there's post-work that has to be done. And the publisher, Cal, orchestrates that and approves someone. It can take up to 6 months to be an approved trainer. So just keep that in mind for your program as we end this program year and go into the next one. Okay, Olga, the next slide.
Tracy,
Yes.
Deborah has a short announcement about Best Plus.
Yes. Thank you. Sorry about that, guys. I neglected to tell you, I did send out a reminder that there's a best order going on at the moment. If you didn't get it, I can send it out to you again, but the deadline to order Best Plus or Best Literacy materials for this go-around, the deadline is March 11th.
Perfect.
So if you have not received the information and you need to make an order, put your email address in the chat pod and I'll send you that information. Thanks, guys.
Thanks,
Thank
Deb.
you.
Okay, so this will be coming out by the end of this week or early next week. The registration will be open for this Integrating Digital Literacy Instruction for College and Career Success. That's a mouthful. But we're excited about that. We tried to offer it in the fall and it didn't make. We heard from a lot of people who were interested that it was just not at a good time. So this is the 2 days prior to the DL Symposium. So we're hoping that we'll maybe help you put all those activities together. There will be a screening process for this, like there was last time. There's just some basic questions asking if their comfort and skill level with technology in the classroom. And so we'll send out a listserv announcement when it's ready. And any staff that you have that you think would be interested in coming to this, when they request to attend the training, they'll get a email reply with a link to the screening survey. And then once they're approved, they'll be notified very quickly. It won't take long, I don't think, to do that. So we're excited about that. Be looking for that at the end of this week or Monday. And if y'all are on spring break next week, we'll send out a listserv announcement again the next week, the week of March 16th on that one. If there are any questions, let me know. I have one more, and then you're done with me. This will be coming up. Tiffany Johnson is the trainer and developer of this TOT, Integrating Services in Adult Education, Vocational Rehab, and Workforce. And she's actually doing a pilot of this tomorrow at San Jacinto College, where if you're in the area or know of anyone who has time to come at the last minute, it'll be from 9 to noon tomorrow at San Jacinto College. It is on the PD portal, so anyone can register. So that's our pilot, and then we'll be rolling this out probably in May is my guess, and just talking about how to work with these partners that are so vital to our success. And some programs have more trouble than others, so it will be a good chance to become a trainer in this and come up with a game plan of how to help programs conquer these barriers and have success here. So we're excited about this one. And Tiffany's a great trainer. So, and the Integrating Digital Literacy, sorry, I can't really talk today. I think I'm talking too fast, is Denise Guckert. So she's the training for that other one. But so we will, and Krista says that it's not too late to register for the pilot tomorrow morning. So if you're in the area and want to have some fun on a Friday morning, go ahead and register because it will be great. So that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Tracy. A lot of great information on some very much needed TOTs. And next we have Anne Marie.
So I am very excited to share a brand new virtual conference that is going to take place in May. And I know that there's an awful lot going on in the next couple months, but I'm hoping to generate a lot of excitement as I share with you what this conference is all about. So this conference is titled Targeting Instruction, Adult Education and Literacy Virtual Conference. It's going to be taking place on Friday, May 29th and a Saturday, May 30th. We've not ever offered a virtual conference on a Saturday, but what we're hoping to do with this is to have these sessions available to teachers that may not be able to attend during the week, or maybe K through 12 teachers during the week and can go to a Saturday training just like a face-to-face training. So what it's gonna look like is that Friday is gonna have 3 sessions. The sessions will start at 9 and they will end at 2:15 on both days. So the times are going to be the same on both days, and each of the sessions, or all of the sessions I should say, are going to be 75 minutes. So there's going to be a solid 60 minutes plus of content with room for introducing the presenters. Now the topics are going to be all instructional strategies and teacher resources for the classroom. So we're going to be featuring sessions on ESL math, brain-based learning, and we already know that two of my colleagues will be presenting. Krista Mosier will be presenting on ESL for math, or math strategies for ESL, I should say. Liz Moya will be presenting a session on brain-based learning, and we also will have sessions on instructional strategies for ESL reading, and also on instructional strategies for ABE and HSC. And stay tuned for hopefully what I can announce, that we will have a surprise national presenter, but I have not gotten confirmation yet, but I'm hoping to. So I see that there is a question and it was answered, and Thelma says, yes, they're going to be different sessions. So Thelma, good question. There's going to be a variety of sessions. So on Friday, there will be 3 sessions, all different. Saturday, 3 different sessions, all different. And we will also on Saturday have a distance learning instructional session on distance learning slash hybrid teaching. So how do you teach? How do you engage students that are both in a regular class and a distance learning class? So that is that. And let's see if there's questions, because I think there are. So
There
Olga,
is a question.
Okay.
And it says, well, it's actually a statement of clarification. So Lorraine says, just to clarify, these sessions will count as literacy.
Good question. Lorraine, depending on the session, there are going to be sessions that will count for PAL as well as literacy.
And we have another question.
Yep. And okay, so let me speak to that. Thelma, I'm going to send this announcement out as a flyer after spring break. And as sessions are confirmed, I will send out an announcement, and then I will let people know that registration is available in the portal. So as soon as I confirm the presenters and the description, registration will go in the PD portal, and people can start registering.
Thank you, Anne Marie. And
you're welcome.
And so this is the end of our presentation or the information. So if anyone has any questions, and I know there's some coming through, Deb says there will be 6 different sessions, 3 on Friday and 3 on Saturday. Thank you. And Thelma's question was, will we get a list of session titles in advance in case I need to recommend certain sessions to staff? And so Anne Marie says that she will be sending them out in an announcement. So any other questions? We had a lot of information. We had Deborah present a little bit on the distance learning symposium. We had Tracy announce several TOTs, and then we had Anne Marie announce, Deborah, I think you're unmuted. Then we had Anne Marie announce the literacy virtual conference. So any questions at all? I'll give you just a moment, and then we will move forward. Okay, so we're going to continue with Laura and the DL Academy module.
All right, good afternoon, everybody. Just wanted to toss out a reminder that Distance Learning Academy Module 3 is available again in the PD portal. We went in and we cleaned up some of the dead links and slides where things weren't connecting quite like they were supposed to. It is the same content as it originally was, and it is still worth 10 professional development hours. And we just wanted to, if you were wanting to complete, I'm sorry, I'm looking at the slide. Yes, I'm sorry, it's available in the PD portal. So if you need it, or if you have staff who need it, you can find it in the PD portal by searching for DL Academy 3. But please remember that before you can take DL3, you have to take DL1. That is a required prerequisite of DL3. So it's there, it's available, it's worth 10 hours, and please just let Katie or I know if you run into any trouble with the course, and we'll help you out. Thanks.
And now we'll have Katie.
Hi, everybody. Let's see. We have several courses that's available to you this month. We have Manager Monday, Brain Waste to Brain Gain, Part 2. Part 1 is already available. Workforce Wednesday, Helping Students Succeed at Work. Tech and Tell, Big Bird Has Grown Up, PBS Learning Media, Part 1. Tech and Tell, Wonderopolis, a wonderland of resources for educators, Part 1. And then also How to Develop or Revive Your Distance Learning Plan webinar. This was actually a webinar that was on last week. We got this one through post-production pretty quickly, so if you want to view it, it is also available. And then we have the ILEA webinar number 2 and webinar ALEA webinar number 2, originally from February 19th, that are available for that group, that cohort number 2, if you missed it. Just as a reminder, if you are wanting to assign any live webinars to your staff, but your staff isn't able to attend, or maybe they're busy, give it a few weeks, and we will have several of these webinars published into the PD portal as a curriculum. Just keep that in mind.
Very good. Thank you so much, Katie. And just another note, I think Katie kind of mentioned it, the ILEA and the ALEA webinars are available for those cohort members in the Leadership Excellence Academy. And individuals have been notified that if they still need to watch those, they've been notified by email. So thank you, Katie. And we'll go ahead and go on to the next slide, and that's you.
All right. At the end of January, we had officially added a recommended training carousel that is under My Transcript carousel. In order for this to work properly, you need to make sure that your subjects are set up correctly. So we are asking if you need to do this, or if your staff need to do this. Please join us for a Learn It Live, where we will cover just the basics on how this works. Registration for March 24th and the 31st will be available in the PD portal soon, so give us a little bit of time there. But again, both of these sessions cover subjects and banners, just some of the new things that were activated here in January. We'll be covering new topics in April, so check back with us soon for those. And as always, we look forward to seeing you online.
Thank you so much, Katie. Now we'll have Laura talk about Reporting 2.0.
Yep. So we just wanted to take a second to say thank you so much for everyone who attended. We did end up over the course of 6 different webinars having upwards of about 55 participants. So we were really, really pleased with that turnout. We have taken down one of the recordings and we posted it in the PD Coordinators Connect community. So if you were not able to join us on any of the webinars to learn about Reporting 2.0, or if you have staff who you know need, could benefit, they have access to Reporting 2.0, and they could benefit from viewing the webinar, then you are welcome to share that link with them. Please note, though, that we did share it in a closed community of practice, so we have not updated for accessibility. We have not corrected the closed captionings and that sort of thing. So just be aware if you do share it. And then also, let me think about this for a second. Another helpful resource that we wanted to point out and remind everybody about is the Wakelet that has been developed for PD coordinators. And the Wakelet just has a whole bunch of resources on it for all things PD coordinator related that you can do in the portal. So how to get to your My Team, how to run reports, how to assign training, how to view certificates for your team members, so forth and so on. And Katie has thrown the link in the chat pod. If you're super fast and you have a QR scanner on your phone, you can scan that QR code that's up on the screen. But again, the link in the chat pod will work for you as well. There's also a link at the bottom of the Wakelet that just asks for feedback. And so if you guys, as PD coordinators, if you're looking at that Wakelet and say, gosh, it would be really helpful to have a PDF about, I don't even know, but, you know, a PDF about something in particular that's missing, fill out that form at the bottom and just give us that feedback. We're very open to feedback from you guys, and we really want to make sure that the resources we're providing for you guys for the PD portal are as helpful as possible. So thanks so much to everyone who attended. If you didn't, go check out the recording in the PD Coordinators COP. And if you have any questions, Reporting 2.0 or PD portal related, just reach out to Katie or myself and we'll be more than happy to help you. Thanks, guys.
Thank you so much, Laura. And before we move on to the PD coordinator time, we're going to stop for a moment for any questions and answers because we did have a lot of information provided by Katie and Laura. So if you have lingering questions, because if you have questions, I'm sure that others here on this webinar have questions. So if you have any questions, please type them now, and then I'll give you a minute and I'll have some wait time. And we will move on to PD coordinator time.
Olga?
Yes, ma'am, I'm just giving everyone a minute. And
Okay.
then we're going to move on to PD coordinator time. See, wait time is really hard on webinars. Okay, so let's go ahead and I'm going to transition to Krista. Krista, take it away.
Hello again. Okay, so remember our PD coordinator time is your chance for some questions and answers. So, and to email me if you have any questions that you would like to have shared at this time. So go ahead and go to the next slide. We have two things that we're going to cover today. The first thing is I need to know this, if you would like to have copies of the training evaluation report after we've done a face-to-face training at your site. You know how we always do the Scantrons, no matter what trainer it is that Train PD has contracted with and sent to your facility, sent to your program. We do the Scantrons. And the Scantron report, you don't get all of the Scantrons, you get a report. But those reports go back to the trainer and to the PD specialist. And we got to thinking that maybe the PD coordinators would actually like to see those evaluations because frequently there's things on there that say, please get this trainer again, or this was fantastic, or I already know this stuff, I don't want to hear it again, that kind of thing. So we just wanted to make sure that this would be something that you would appreciate getting. It's just 1 or 2 pages of a report as a PDF. So please put that in your chat pod.
Ashley says, yes, please. Thelma Johnson says, I would love that. I usually create an evaluation on SurveyMonkey, but this would be awesome. And Susan Sanchez says, yes, thanks. So we're getting a lot of positives. I want to think it is helpful. And Kelsey says, yes. Debbie Van Pelt says, it would be very useful. Thank you all for your responses. We appreciate them.
Yes. Okay, so I think that is what we will do. As PD coordinators, you're already and is already on the TRIF, which is what we use to put it in the portal, so that should be a very easy thing to implement. So perfect. I'm excited about that. And then the second thing, wait a minute, go back 1 quick minute. That should be number 2. There was a couple questions about the difference between Tier 1 and Tier 2 training events. And I just wanted to take a couple of minutes to go through the differences and make sure that there's no questions or concerns about the difference between them. So the Tier 1 is what we kind of consider our local events, and then our Tier 2 is what Train PD contracts with. So Tier 1 is local. It is normally delivered by staff with subject matter expertise or trainers that you have contracted with yourself and are paying for. Your program is responsible for all the event documentation, your sign-in sheets, agendas, and so on, including Teams entry. And you're also responsible for registration, training, promotion, and materials. Now, I did put this little caveat down here that there are some programs that use the PD portal for registration that has to go through the PD specialist, and you are still responsible for everything except for registration, and the sign-in sheets are just automatically generated when there's registration in the portal. All right, so that is the Tier 1, and let me go ahead and talk about the Tier 2, and then we'll get any feedback or questions or clarification as if needed. Tier 2 trainings are the ones that you request, the program requests through the PD coordinator to Train PD at TCall, whoever your PD specialist is. Train PD assists with the training and trainer selections. We pay for the trainers and their copies. And then we also provide the registration through the PD portal. We do the sign-in sheets, do the Scantrons, and we are responsible for Teams entry. Is there any questions or needing clarification on either of those tier 1 or 2 training events?
Thank you, Krista. That's good information. Sometimes we just need a refresher. So at this time, Krista's waiting for any questions you might have, and this is your final opportunity for questions and answers today, possibly. So we'll wait a minute, and we still have some time on our webinar today. So we have a couple of other items. So Krista, yes?
I was just going back and looking in the chat pod. Tiffany said something about some of the feedback is directed towards administration too, so they should share that too. So I think that was going back to getting a copy of the Scantron, right?
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
okay.
ma'am.
Okay. Just making sure.
Okay. Well, I'm hearing crickets in the chat pod. I'm hearing crickets in the chat pod. So does anybody have any other questions for Krista? Okay, well, I believe that Tracy had some information to share very quickly. Tracy?
Yes, Olga, I have one more thing to share. With the national conferences coming up at the end of March, TESOL's at the end of March, and COAB is at the beginning of April. I wanted to remind everyone that if you're sending staff to these conferences, you will be responsible after your staff comes back and turns in whatever paperwork your program has agreed to document what sessions they've attended, that you will need to compile the sessions that have been attended onto the conference session sheet that we have. And we probably should send that back out if you need it. Some people already have it. And it comes in to us from your program as one spreadsheet with any session that was attended. We do that data entry into Teams for the national conferences. And it is, as Laura said, in the PD Coordinator's Community of Practice. Thank you, Laura. Perfect. So if you have questions about that, I know we have some new PD coordinators in the field, so please don't hesitate to ask your PD specialist. And as long as we get these entered, you know, we want to get them entered, of course, by the end of June so that you can attach staff. But some programs are large and it takes time to compile all that information. But just a reminder that when you do have that compiled, then send it to your PD specialist. They'll route it to usually Beth, Ponder, or myself, and we'll enter those into Teams, and then you can attach your staff to those events so that you can get the PD hours that are needed. So thanks. Any questions about that, just type them in the chat pod. And thank you.
Thank you, Tracy. And with that said, I think Anne-Marie wants to share something really quickly, and then we'll go to Deb. So Anne-Marie.
Yes, just really quickly. Back on the Targeting Instruction, Adult Education and Literacy virtual conference, Thelma, you brought up a good point. So what I will do, as we are having the PD coordinator webinars, as I get the titles and the descriptions for each of the distinct 6 sessions, I will share them with you on the PD coordinator webinar, as well as sending them out on the listserv. So I just think that would be helpful. Do you guys agree with that? Just let me know in the chat pod.
Yes,
okay.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you, Olga.
Thank you. Okay, so we still have some time left, and I wanted to have Deborah share some information. So what I'm going to do at this time is, Deborah, I'm going to give you presenter rights so that you could go to your desktop and share some information with everyone.
Great. Thank you, Olga. I know I put it in the chat pod, but I completely forgot of all the hard work we did when we redid our website. So I'm going to try and move that. Let me know if you see the website.
Yes.
Wonderful. Thank you. Somebody answer. So we've got a brand new website here, and what we've done is we've taken each of the institutes and given them they used to have their own page, but what we've done now is we're trying to make this more user-friendly for teachers. So for example, in the Institute for Instruction website, we've got topics such as standards, the full standards book, each standard by topic. We've got a link to the videos, the report of the standards alignment to industry clusters. We've got a section now for adults with disabilities that has some teacher resources, instructional resources, as well as disability and employment resources that has some really good stuff in it. I just added yesterday a whole link on this website for the U.S. Citizen podcast that has some wonderful stuff for citizenship, civics, and history. If you've got a classroom of students and your teachers are looking for some new information there. We're adding links for adult basic ed on financial literacy, math, reading and writing, some tech integration. You know, as you scroll through, you'll be able to see that we've added more links that are targeted for teachers. Career pathways, we've got for navigators some helpful guides that we found online. For the Career Pathway Toolkit catalog, you'll find integrated EL civics, some fact sheets on foreign-born workforce. Just take a few minutes of your day, today, tomorrow, whenever. See how we've reorganized stuff on each of the Institute pages. We hope we've done it in a way that makes it a little bit more user-friendly because we'd like to drive you to the website for these resources. If it's not in the portal, it should be on the website here. And if you can't find it in either spot, please let us know. Again, each section in their Institute has different things. Links here for open ed resources, tech and tells, the ISTE standards for teachers. We're talking about the DL plan, needing a new distance learning plan. So I've got a link directly to that, directly to the plan addendum, a link directly to the approved curriculum, to the academy stuff in the portal, and so on. So if you have some time, please take a look at what we've done to the website. Give us some ideas if you like it, if you don't like it, if it's hard to navigate still, we would appreciate that. And that's it.
Well,
Thank
Deborah,
you.
before you go, Deborah, someone
sure.
had posted a question on the listserv. They asked where were the IET surveys located because they used to be on the Career Pathways page and they couldn't find them.
The surveys.
Yeah, the ones where people list information about the IETs, there are links to the SurveyMonkey, and people fill that out to submit information about their IETs. And they were on the previous Career Pathways page, and they can't find them anymore.
Ah, okay. Let me get with George. I thought we added that back a couple of days ago. Let me double check with that. It'll be here on the Career Pathways page. But I don't see where it's listed. Let me get back with George, and I'll let y'all know.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Very good. Thank you so much, Deborah.
You're welcome.
Thank you, everyone. Emery.
Yes, I will. Hold
Okay.
on.
Okay, so it's 2:57, everyone. So we want to just say see you on April 9th at 2 p.m. and we thank everyone for their participation and for being on the website today. If you have any final questions, let us know in the chat pod, but we thank you for joining us and enjoy. If you're on spring break next week, enjoy your spring break.